Our next presenter has been consolidating in the prolific Golden Triangle for some time here. And if you like high grade, this company is for you. Please help me welcome Robert Van Egmond of Dolly Varden Silver, along with Matt Gordon from Crux Investor.
All right.
Go. Good to see you, Rob.
Yeah, good to be
Having
here.
our annual conversation.
Yeah.
Did this last year. It's good. How have you been?
Deja vu all over again.
Yeah.
Good, good. Yeah, it's been a busy winter.
For sure,
At
yeah.
Dolly Varden, for sure. Planning out this year's drill program.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that, because it's been a kind of fun, since the last year, a fun time in the silver space. Lots of big acquisitions. Nice place to be playing.
Yeah. Well, we're coming at it from a position of strength. You know, we've just listed on the New York Stock Exchange.
Oh, yeah.
We've got good volume. Over the last 5 years, we've grown the company from a $20 million market cap to $300 million. So it's given us some good leverage to be able to make these accretive acquisitions. But at the same time, we're focusing on our foundational resources, expanding out our deposits. So we've got a lot of work going on, and we're doubling down on the Golden Triangle in northwestern BC.
Now, I'm interested in how you're playing this game, because obviously with those kind of big acquisitions, everyone looks to the stars, right? I'm going to call it advanced exploration. Would that be fair?
Yes, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So not rushing to get into the development phase yet. I appreciate it's historic, but that's not the model at the moment.
No, what our model is we're finding new deposits, we're expanding deposits in 100-year-old mining camps. So there's still lots of opportunity for expansion, for finding new high-grade silver and gold deposits. And at the same time, we have grassroots exploration in prospective areas that is coming up with positive results. But a lot of it is about adding value. So we have a resource that's inferred and indicated, different categories. But what a company that might acquire the whole thing is looking for is to have that value added, to de-risk the deposits, understand the geology, have good geology models, and then also have a large land package with more prospective ground on it.
Okay, and I do want to come to that, but just finishing off the kind of positioning in the marketplace. If I've got pure play silver companies talking to me, they say that's an advantage. You've got silver and gold, and companies would tell me, well, that's an advantage, because you come at it from both sides. So how do you, again, read valuation around being a pure play or not?
Yeah, I mean, it's about leverage, right? If you're a pure play silver company, 95% of our silver resources are silver. So we're not stating silver equivalents. Where if you have 30 or 40% of your value is in silver and the rest base metals, when the silver price starts going up, like we're seeing now, if we get into the silver bull market, we're much better positioned because the higher percentage of our value is silver. And then, if we do state silver equivalents, it's silver and gold. So it's just a precious metals equivalent.
Right. It's been kind of quite an erratic ride, if I'm looking at your share chart, for the past few years. So, silver price has a lot to do with that, but I guess so has success with the drill bit. So can you say, or give us an idea of where you think the future value is going to come from? Because you're doing this in a kind of an acquisitive background. You guys have been picking up land packages and old projects, and you're doing the exploration. So how does that all work?
Yeah, well, obviously the biggest value addition is finding more deposits, and that's something that we've been good at for the last couple of years. For example, the Wolf Vein, that's where we just started our program this year. So that's where our 4 drills are right now at the Wolf Vein. That's something that was a little 3 million ounce deposit discovered in the 20s, and through exploration we've expanded that now out to over 1 kilometer strike length, 100 meters vertical. These are wide veins, 15 to 20 meters true width, so you can bring your mining costs down. So discovering new deposits, that's the number one catalyst. But then increasing your visibility on the market, and like I say, the New York Stock Exchange getting listed. We've already seen there the silver people that really like silver are looking on that exchange.
They really like silver, don't they?
Yeah.
Right. The other thing I've got to talk to you about is you're buying stuff off Hecla.
Yeah.
Are you getting this the right way around? Are they meant to be buying you?
Yeah. Yeah. We do get that question quite often, and well, yeah. I mean, we flipped the script on that. It's a huge land package, and we've essentially, our Kitsault Valley Project is about 25 kilometers of Hazelton Formation. So that's that package of rocks that hosts all the deposits. And now we've added another 30 kilometers through this acquisition, and then also on the west side another 10 kilometers. So it's all about prospectivity, and from Hecla's point of view, they're still owners indirectly because it was an all-equity deal.
Right.
$5 million value, but they got stock in the company. They were already they are already 12%, but this now pushed it up again through that equity
Where
deal.
does it take them to?
15.
15. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so Hecla and then Fury is a 15%, Fury Gold Mines. They're 15% right now, and that's also through an acquisition back in 2022 when we bought the Homestake Ridge property.
Right.
So that added about 1 million ounces of gold and 20 million ounces of silver. But again, it was a mostly equity deal, so they've leveraged those equities already.
Does it help in a market like this to have those companies doing quite well? They're not stressed.
Yeah.
With high price precious metal environment, with their own share price going, so it's not an overhang for you. You're not worried about that.
No, not really. We're,
okay.
We've always worked from a position of strength. Whenever we do raises, we haven't done a down round since 2020, but just relative to our peers, we are doing quite well. So it does give us a bit of an advantage, and that's why we've done these acquisitions now. We've always picked the strategic time to do it.
Right.
Homestake Ridge, we watched that for 3 years, and we've actually tried to get this Hecla ground over the last few years, and now finally was the right time.
Well, let's take a look at that land package, because obviously consolidating makes a lot of sense if you can pick it up at the right price. Mm-hmm. What are your plans? What's the intent in terms of the timing of how you get after it, how you fund that?
Well, right now we're focusing on the Dolly Varden project because we, like I said, we have 4 drills turning. It's all about expanding out the deposits, the known mineralization, and at the same time trying to find another one of these 50 million ounce silver deposits, because it's a number of basins. And so we're doing that on 2 fronts. And then right now we're kind of target generating on all this new ground, and we're taking what we've learned in the Kitsault Valley and then applying it to these other trends. So this end of this summer and next summer, hopefully we'll be able to drill a few of those targets.
Right. So what about how do you plan out or map out the modeling around the 35,000 meters, and how do you stage or phase that?
Well, we started with some exploration drill holes, and then now we've moved to Wolf, like I said, and it's all about, we did last year we ended the year with a 120 meter step out, and we still got over 350 grams per ton over 20 meters, but now we have to backfill a lot of that between that step out hole and the known mineralization, both vertically and laterally. So there's a little bit of infill, or we call it backfill, and then we're continuing to step out, because as we get deeper on these deposits, we notice the footprint, the mineralization style is a higher temperature, so we feel we're getting closer to a heat source, and where there might be another large deposit.
So what are you able to kind of follow the same approach that you've done previously? Does it all follow a similar sort of pattern with the geophysics and the geochem? And
yeah. A lot of the geophysics was done already in 2017, and so we are working off of that, and we're starting to use some different AI, because I mean AI, all that is in my view.
Is it genuine AI?
Well, it's data processing,
Interpretational.
with all of these different studies and the size of the land package, you have so much data, and for geologists to go through this and say, well, how does this compare to that? AI we've done it on little areas, and it's really just stacking mounds of data together and seeing where there are things line up with gold mineralization or silver mineralization. So it's just a way of processing all of this data that we generate.
Right, so you talk about stepping out 120 meters, then kind of infilling. Is it kind of, it sounds like a very kind of cautious, steady approach to this. Will there be kind of genuine kind of greenfields and, more exciting drilling?
Yeah. I mean, this year we're going big. So instead of doing 120 meter step out now, because we have our models and our satellite imagery has shown us these big structures that cut through, we're targeting things that are 400 meters out. So then that'll expand things out very fast. So that's what we're doing this year, and then we have a couple of new deposits that will be hitting or new for us. A big copper porphyry system off to the east called the Big Bulk. So there's a few shallower drill holes into that, but there's good copper and gold mineralization, and those deposits are the same, or those intrusives are the same age as the huge KSM deposits up in the main part of the Golden Triangle.
Are you the guys to get after that?
No, that's a big market.
Yeah, I'm about to say. So what do you do about that?
Sorry, what's that?
Who goes after that? How do you kind of get after copper porphyry?
Well, we don't want to distract ourselves from our high-grade precious metals, silver and gold veins. We do want to get a couple of holes into it, but what that would show is somebody who's more interested or has the pockets to fund exploration for a copper or gold porphyry system. Would then either JV or sell it off. So again, it's about adding value to the company as a whole. So if we can JV that out, have someone else do the work and not distract us from our silver.
So there's a few big names in the triangle. Any kind of obvious takers for something like that? Because obviously you've got time in your hand, you've got money in your hand to not rush and to lob it off to some junior with great hopes. You've got to do it with the right partner, haven't you? So
I mean, there's you look at the map of the Golden Triangle and you'll see who the big players are, but there's a lot of focus in on the Golden Triangle because it is so prolific in the mineralization that there's a few names that aren't on there who do want to get in, and they're just the obvious ones from around the world. And so there's a big interest in the Golden Triangle.
Right, and okay, so exploration obviously is what you do best, what you've done well so far. In terms of sort of housekeeping around, I mean the register looks good, but housekeeping around on the corporate side, what's kind of important to you guys this year?
Well, my focus right now is the exploration and finding another deposit. But on the corporate side of things, it's just getting the messaging out there, and then as we find new stuff, it's just relating how it all relates into the big picture. And we're focused on becoming the next premier go-to silver and gold company in the Golden Triangle. So on the corporate side of things, we've done things like I say, listed on the New York Stock Exchange, which has really helped us, and just getting out to shows like this.
It's like the silver company seems to be knocked off one by one.
On purchases?
Yeah.
Acquisition.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not a lot left on the table.
Yeah, no, it's in terms of sort of the jurisdiction, it's a safe jurisdiction to work. We have great First Nations relationships, government relationships, so it's one of the highest grade, largest precious metal deposits in a safe jurisdiction that's in an advanced exploration stage.
Sure and steady. Like it. Good to see you, Rob. See you next year.
Thank you. Yeah. We'll be back here again. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.